Hey there everybody, it's Lance with Love to Hate, back again with another video, and for you today I have a very special video. In this video I'm going to talk to you about Pandasaurus Games' newest game that is coming to Kickstarter next month, early September, and it comes from renowned designer Elizabeth Hargrave and co-designer Jeff Fraser. This is the Fox Experiment. Now this is a 2 to 5 player game in which you are going to be reliving a 1958 science experiment between two Russian scientists in which they tried to breed domesticated foxes. And so that's what you're going to be doing in this game, is you're going to be trying to breed the friendliest fox. Now, I did get the chance to teach this game at GenCon. In fact, this video that you're watching, that's me there with the fanny pack on and the yellow shirt teaching the players here at GenCon how to play this game. I got to teach it about 8 times and played it 2.5 times, let's say. So I am very familiar with this game, and I'm going to share my thoughts with you on it. Now, mechanics in this game. We were told that this is a roll and write game, but several of the players that I described this game to and taught this game to, they didn't agree with that description, and I don't know that I do either. This is more, as what one player put it, a roll and record game in which you roll the dice and you record the results on your card. But the main mechanics that really stick out in this game are card drafting, dice rolling, and tableau building. Now, the rules overview for this game, it takes place over 5 rounds, and each of those rounds are broken up into 4 phases. The first phase will be done in turn order, each player taking 1 action, a total of 3 actions by each player, and the other 3 phases are going to be done simultaneously. So what are those 4 phases? Well, the first phase is the selection phase. Now again, this is you're selecting foxes to breed in this game. So in the selection phase, you have the option of selecting a mother fox, a father fox, and your turn order for the next round. And you can do those options in any order you choose, but you're only taking 1 at a time. So the first player may choose to take their female fox. Then the second player will go, and they may choose turn order for the next round. Third player will go, and they might select, let's say, a female fox as well. And the fourth player may select a male fox. Now, it would go back to the first player if in a 4-player game, and they would select one of the other 2 options that they didn't select their first turn. Same with all the other players. Then when it comes around the third time, you have to select whatever you haven't done up to that point. So each player will select one of those over the 3 actions. So what are you selecting when it comes to your mother and father fox? Well, that pertains to the second phase of the game, of a round, the breeding phase. And in this phase, looking at your mother and father fox, you'll see what colors of dice you get to roll for that phase. Now, the dice all represent different traits. You have your brown traits that pertain to whether or not the foxes have floppy ears. The purple pertains to whether or not they have waggly tails. The red is whether they have spots, and the blue is whether they bark a lot or not. Now, with those dice, you will also gain 1 green friendly die, which counts as a wild of sorts, and it can be applied to any of the other colors. Now, all players do this simultaneously. They will roll their dice that they have attained through those 2 pairings, the mother and father fox, and they're going to apply the results to one of their pup cards. Now, all players have a deck of pup cards, which are essentially the same. The only changes between the cards are that you shuffle them up and you don't know whether or not your pup that you are breeding that round is going to be male or female, but that doesn't have a huge effect on the game. And you're going to name your fox. You're going to get to write a name on that, which was a lot of fun while I was teaching the players this. If you don't name your fox, you're just a horrible research experimenter. You need to name your fox. Come on, people. And so you will then apply the results of what you roll onto your card. Now, what are you trying to do with these dice? The dice have full symbols and half symbols on the different sides of each of the dice. Now, the full symbols are going to allow you to mark 1 box or circle for that particular trait on your pup card. The half symbols won't give you anything unless you have a second half symbol to pair up with it to then create a full symbol. And so with your dice, you roll them, you see what you have for each one, you decide where you're going to apply that wild die, and then there are also wild tokens, which are those green tokens in that trait, that token holder, black token holder you see in the center of the screen. And with those, if you have any, you can connect them to half symbols of any color to create full symbols. Now, the symbols that you mark off on your card are going to determine how friendly that pup is. For each box and circle that you have marked on your card, you're going to count each of those up and then write that number in the top right, and that's going to tell you how friendly that pup is. The higher the number, the better, because whoever has the friendliest pup that round will win that round's bonus. And those bonuses are victory points for the end of the game, and each round that increases from 2 points at the beginning to 5 points after 5 rounds. So you can see why you would want to have the friendliest pup. But now, the other players who don't win the friendliest pup award, they do get a consolation prize of those wild tokens, which can be very powerful at the end of the game if you've stockpiled them to unload on one particular roll and get lots of traits to hopefully win that last round and get those 5 points in the 5th and final round. Now, that is the breeding phase. Next, we go into the research phase, because now that I have my pup and I have its DNA makeup and I know its traits, I can then use that pup to unlock studies. Now, each player starts the game with one study card, and it shows them what they need on a pup as far as the different traits go to be able to unlock that study for victory points. Now, these get progressively more and more difficult to unlock as you progress down a card. There are 3 things you need to unlock. The first one gives 2 points if you're able to unlock it, and usually it requests for 3 requirements. Maybe you need to mark the first purple box, the first blue box, the first red box, something like that. And then the second column will have a little bit more required. You'll need maybe 5 or 6 requirements to unlock it, and it will give you 5 points if you're able to do that. And then the final column will require quite a bit, 9, maybe 10 even, requirements to unlock it, but it does give 10 points if you're able to do so. And there is a way to be able to get more study cards throughout the course of the game to give you access to more points. The other thing you're going to be doing in the research phase is you're going to look at which trait, the different colors of the dice, that you progress the furthest on with that particular pup. And for each circle you marked off on that trait, you're going to get matching colored tokens that you then use to unlock things on your board. This is the tableau building portion of the game. So again, they need to be the same color, matching tokens, but with matching tokens, I can unlock the ability to produce more than one pup each round, because you can only produce one pup until you unlock the next one to let you produce 2 pups. And the benefit to that is that I get to re-roll my dice with each pup. So I'll roll my dice the first time, record what I get with that on the first pup, re-roll the dice again with the second pup, record what I have there. And with my multiple pups, that allows me to unlock more studies and get more trait tokens to unlock more things on my board. The other things I can unlock on my board are more study cards, as I mentioned earlier, more wild friendly dice, which you can see the benefit to that because they're versatile. I can use them anywhere. And then the final thing that I can unlock on my board are the sponsors. Now, the sponsors are going to give in-game victory points depending on what their requirements are. But unlocking a sponsor allows you access to that at the end of the game. And generally, it pertains to what colors of tokens you've put on your board and where you've placed them. So one particular sponsor may give 2 victory points for matching color tokens that are vertical to each other or horizontal to each other. Some other ones will just give you straight victory points for however many of a particular color you have, or if you have one of each color. You get the idea. Now, in the prototype that I had here, we had, I think, 16 different sponsors that you could play with, so there's a lot of replayability with that particular part of the game. Now, the last phase, which I think is a really cool part of this game, is the administrative phase. And what happens in this phase is you take your pup that you bred that round and you place it in the market. Now, males obviously go to the father row and females go to the mother row, and that now fully grown pup or fox, not a wolf, can be selected by any player in the next round's selection phase. And so there is a little bit of strategy when it comes to deciding how you want to put your traits on this particular pup. Do I want to max out on a particular one and get it lots of dice in a particular color, knowing that maybe the player across from me is really needing that color of dice? Maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe I want to put my wild dice somewhere else, because that player could draft that particular male or female fox in the next round. Now, with those foxes, you will be theoretically getting bigger and better pups as you get more and more dice to be able to roll with. So the excitement with this game builds with each progressive round as the foxes get bigger, better, and stronger, and hopefully more friendly. So, what are my thoughts on this game? Well, it is a fairly easy game. I do think this is a pretty straightforward game. It's not one that is overly complex. I did have a few players say that they were a little confused, but they seemed to get the general idea after one turn and were really able to sink their teeth into this after 2 full turns. My biggest issue, I think, was with unlocking things on your board. I did have a lot of questions about that, so that may be the trickiest part of this game. Games lasted 45 to 60 minutes. This particular one you're watching here lasted exactly 56 and a half minutes, to give you an idea, and that was a first game. All 4 players new to this. Games were very tight. Most players scored in the 20 and 30s. The particular winner of this one is the gentleman there in the black shirt straight across on the other side of the table, and he scored 42 points in this game, which was quite an anomaly, I thought, because not many players scored much more than 34, 35 points in this game. Similarities. I think this game is similar to Dino Island in some aspects, as you are needing to roll certain things to determine what you're able to do on your turn with your different symbols that you get. I do think it's similar to Elizabeth Hargrave's other game, Wingspan, in which you are unlocking things. There's tableau building, which helps you to have bigger and better turns later in the game. Now, generally, I did think this was a fun experience. Pretty much everybody I played this game with had a great time. A lot of people were excited about it. I think the only complaints that I heard from some players were that they wish that there was a little more player interaction, but I do think there's enough player interaction with the drafting, selecting, and what I mentioned earlier about choosing whether or not you want to really beef up a particular pup, knowing that somebody else may draft it the next round. I think the thing that this game makes, that stands out and really shines about this game is that those pups do get bigger and better and faster and stronger as the game progresses. And that is a very interesting aspect as players get more and more dice and they're unable to unlock more and more things and see more and more stuff happen. But by doing so, they're also giving benefits to the other players. And so that's a very cool, unique give and take aspect of this particular game. This game was a very popular hit at GenCon for a very good reason, and that's because it is very well designed. The bonus cards in this game, which I didn't even talk about, there are science cards and there's tokens that you can gain, really add enough to this game to make it feel like you're getting a lot of benefits and maybe getting a leg up on the other players by making the choices that you're selecting throughout this course of the game. So it does make you feel like you're smart and you're making good choices. Now, some players may feel that this game is a bit too light for them, but I do think that this is a very good light to medium light weight game in which you can play this with family, you can play this with friends, and I do think this could be a very good game that we might review on Love to Hate, where we're trying to help gamers find great games to play with non-gamers. So that being said, we will try to look at this in more detail once it comes out and we have an opportunity to do so. Now, that's my thoughts on it. Love to hear your thoughts on it. Leave some comments down below. Let us know what you think of this one. And please like and subscribe to the channel. I'm Lance, and this has been Love to Hate. We'll catch you next time.